Welcome to Mobil 1 The Grid. Coming up today, we go behind the scenes in Shanghai with the WEC and meet DTM's youngest ever champion at Hockenheim. We begin today's Mobil 1 The Grid on location in China with the WEC, where a possible constructors' title was up for grabs.
Shanghai was the setting for the penultimate round of the World Endurance Championship, where conditions threatened the titanic battle between manufacturing giants Porsche and Audi in the LMP1 division. Porsche, in only their second season back, had the momentum, with the number 17 919 hybrid taking 3 consecutive victories leading into China.
At Le Mans, obviously the double victory, it was impossible for all of us not to get soaked up with that. Incredible team result for the whole team. And then since then, obviously, the car 17's really been, touch wood, been the form car. We've just found ourselves in a position now that we've got a lot of momentum and we want to finish the season off with 2 strong results in Shanghai and Bahrain.
We've been competitive each race. Obviously, Audi tries to fight back now. We have quite a good lead, I would say, in the Constructors' Championship. The Driver Championship, we just took the lead by 1 point, so we hope we can keep both positions where we are.
Obviously, there's a championship to win, so you look at the points, and at the moment, 1 point behind is not a big deal, but we have to push very hard to be in front of them, because we definitely want to get our title back.
Actually, we're quite motivated and looking forward for this race, and for sure we never give up until the last race is done. And as long as we have a chance to win this championship, we try to fight for it.
In the GTE Pro class, it was much the same, with the Ferraris taking the fight to the dominant Porsche of Richard Lietz for both the Constructors' and Drivers' Championships.
At the moment, we are leading the championship from the driver's point of view. We are fighting for manufacturers' championship as well. It's difficult because also the Italian brand is fighting hard for the victory, but of course we want to make Porsche proud and do our best.
Now we need to beat them, so doesn't matter. We will need to be in the front. It's just 7 points. I think we try a bit more aggressive strategy. We need to win or here or Bahrain if we want to be the champion.
A dry night would eventually lead to another wet day in Shanghai, but that didn't stop the festivities on the morning of the race, with a better than expected crowd cheering on the teams as they lined the grid for the race.
I don't know if it's going to be a safety car start, it could well be, so conditions obviously are the biggest factor at the moment, so just cool heads, it's a long race, let the conditions come to us and then make all the right calls from there.
For the second consecutive WEC race, we're starting behind the safety car. The clock is running. It's the 6 hours of Shanghai.
After 12 minutes of safety car, the race was green flagged and Mark Lieb charged up the inside of Brendan Hartley to take the lead. But an aggressive Andre Lotterer was pushing hard and split the Porsches.
Audi hit me. I gave room for Brendan and then Audi hit me.
Racing continued, however, and it was all Audi and Porsche at the front. Further back, the Ferraris and Porsches in GTE Pro were also bumper to bumper.
And the number 7 Audi getting involved in that unwittingly. Richard Lietz needs no second invitation and takes the Porsche to the first position in GTE Pro.
With just an hour to go, the tension was immense. Porsche had the upper hand, but Audi just wouldn't give up.
Still 52 minutes remain. There's 1 pit stop left for both cars, so we'll see. Hopefully we can catch up.
We've got a 30-second gap. Mark's just got to keep it tidy, keep it on the road, and
in the end, it was another historic day for the team from Weissach.
Check flag, baby! Fantastic, boys. Bloody good result. That was a tough day.
It was Porsche's weekend in Shanghai, wrapping up the Constructors' title in LMP1 and moving closer to both titles in GTE Pro.
fair fight, and now we clinch Constructors, so it's awesome.
To win here in front of this crowd and together with the LMP1 winning the Manufacturer Championship, I mean, it's an amazing day for Porsche, and I hope Mr. Porsche is proud of us.
The drivers may be the stars, but motorsport is all about teamwork. Next up, we find out how to keep the fuel flowing in NASCAR.
James Keener. I'm the gas man on the number 14 Mobil 1 Chevrolet. Everyone calls me Ace. I really wanted to work on a race team. I got in over at Junior Motorsports on their Xfinity team. When Danica actually went over to Junior Motorsports to race in the Xfinity Series, I gassed for her. And then she ended up coming to Stewart-Haas, and I happened to catch the eye of the pit coach that worked here, and he was watching me and gave me a call and said, hey, we're starting up a team this year with Kurt Busch, and we could use another gas man. Would you be interested? Last year when Kurt won Martinsville at the beginning of the year, that was my first win ever. Being able to go to victory lane and do the hat dance and do all that stuff, so that was amazing. You know, that was definitely the highlight of my career, being able to go to victory lane like that. Beginning of this year, they told me they were moving me over to the 14, and I was ecstatic. Worked with Tony Stewart, you know, 3-time champion, legend. It was awesome. So Tuesday through Thursday, we have practice after lunch. It all starts out here. Everything is so choreographed. The timing of a jack man, the way he jacks the car up compared to when a tire comes out, and like, if it's 0.2 of a second different, it changes the choreography of things. And it took me 5-6 races at the beginning of the year to where I was like, okay, this is the speed the rear carrier is gonna run at me, because I gotta get out of the way for him to come by, but I gotta stay in that car as long as I can to get as much fuel in there as I can. And then if there are issues, we have cameras everywhere up here, so we look at the film exactly, slow motion, see, okay, my foot was 6 inches in the wrong place. You move that, fix things, and then everything starts to flow together. And once it starts to flow, then you're busting off quick pit stops. He's gaining time on the track, and he's a happy guy. The car can hold about 18 to 18.5 gallons of fuel. Our fuel cans, they hold 12 gallons of fuel. We can dump a 12-gallon can in 6 seconds. So if we're doing 2 tires and we need 11.5 gallons, we can do 1 can, right side tires, and then the car can leave while I'm still plugged into it and get out and good to go. Normally, when you have over 11.5 to 12 gallons, then it's like, okay, we don't really want to do a 2-tire stop because we need more than 1 can. They're going to call for 4 tires most likely. I love working in racing. It's something I love doing, so it's not really like work. And I'm a fabricator as well. So I help build the exhaust pipes and other parts for the cars. If eventually I got out of the pit stops part of it, I would still love to work in the shop and help make fast race cars. So that's what I love doing.
Next, we head to Hockenheim to meet Germany's newest rising star, Pascal Wehrlein. The massively popular DTM series sees Audi, BMW and Mercedes duke it out in Germany's fastest and most technologically advanced touring car championship. In the penultimate race at Hockenheim this year, Mercedes' Pascal Wehrlein finished 8th to become the series' youngest ever champion. It's been a breakthrough year for the 21-year-old German. Already a reserve driver for Mercedes' Formula One team, he now has his sights set on the very top.
Definitely my year is really busy. So I have 20 Formula One weekends and 9 DTM race weekends. So from March to November, December, I have a very busy schedule, but I like what I do. In the future, I hope that I can join Formula One. But I think this year was really important, and also for myself to learn to be the reserve driver in Formula One. You learn so much, and to drive in DTM, you also learn so much, and at the end, just everything is coming together.
Having followed the traditional path up the single-seater ladder to Formula 3, the move to DTM proved quite a challenge.
It's really hard DTM because in Formula 3 or before in karting series, you always drive for your own. And in DTM you have 7 teammates and you have to drive for the whole brand, and sometimes depends on your situation, where you are, which position, you have to drive for your teammates. So DTM is really different and you have to learn a lot, especially as a young driver. And at the beginning it's really hard.
On the track, Wehrlein was by far the most consistent of the Mercedes squad this season, while in the garage he's adapted well to the high-tech, high-budget environment.
We have a really big team in DTM, so many people are working for us in the factory, but also on the racetrack. Before, you're always used to work with 2 or 3 engineers, and then you have 4 or 5 mechanics. Now there are more than 200 or 300 employees which are working for you, and that's amazing, and I really enjoy it.
The new champion is now perfectly placed to continue his racing education, and being reserve driver with Mercedes F1 alongside the reigning world champion is the ideal place to learn.
I'm the reserve driver of the best team. I'm learning from the best drivers there. I'm in all the meetings, I'm having the radio on when they're driving, so that's my role at the weekend, and be ready if something would happen. But for myself, I want to drive a whole season in Formula 1 and not just replace a driver for one race. You always want to be in the best team and have the best car, and my goal is to drive one day for Mercedes in Formula 1, but as you know, it's not easy.
Rumours abound as to a possible drive next season. With Manor signing a new engine deal with Mercedes, Wehrlein could be making his Formula 1 debut sooner than you think.
I'm really happy to be part of this success, and in the future I will always look back to this year. After that we can discuss what's happening next year, but maybe there's a chance in Formula 1, maybe not, but let's see.
After the break, we meet the young racers in the European F3 Championship and talk to a Mexican looking to make it big in NASCAR. Welcome back to Mobil 1 The Grid. We return to Hockenheim, Germany next for some wheel-to-wheel single-seater action.
The FIA F3 European Championship is one of the best feeder series to motorsport's premier categories like F1, IndyCar and the World Endurance Championship. With 33 races over 11 rounds, there's plenty of track time for the stars of tomorrow to hone their skills.
The level's so high in Formula 3, everyone's so close, and if you're not quite on it, it's you suddenly drop down the order and qualify by 5, 6, 10 positions.
It's such a high level and everyone's within a few tenths here and there, so it's really great to compete in such a competitive category and to run in the front. I'm really pleased with that, and I really enjoy being part of the series.
You can learn racing, you can learn downforce because you have a lot of downforce in the car, braking, everything. The F3 is one of the best championship now for experienced driver and as well for rookie driver.
Hockenheim hosted the final round of the season, with the series playing a supporting role to the DTM. There was a relaxed vibe in the paddock as experienced F3 campaigner Felix Rosenqvist had already taken the title at the previous round at the Nürburgring for top team Prema.
Joining Prema, the main target was to win the title and also, if possible, do it in a dominant fashion, which was probably expected from me in one way. And Nürburgring, we just had a massive weekend with 3 poles and 3 wins, and to end it like that was just fantastic. Also with 1 weekend to spare, you can come here a bit more relaxed. It was a perfect way to win it, really.
But motorsport bosses don't just look to the championship winner for tomorrow's stars. Toro Rosso driver Max Verstappen made the leap to F1 after finishing 3rd in F3 in 2014.
It's a great class. I think you really need to do it before you step up to F1, and I really enjoyed my time there. Well, the general preparations, how to learn, how to approach a weekend, the racing itself is very competitive, setting up a racing car, all those kind of things.
With careers at stake and important championship positions still up for grabs, competition at Hockenheim was as fierce as ever. In race 1, a maiden win for 16-year-old Canadian driver Lance Stroll helped cement 5th in the standings in his rookie year.
I know I already secured my P5 place for the championship, which is the maximum I could get this weekend. And I'm very satisfied with that. We're the second rookie in the overall standings, which is a great achievement for the first year.
Race 2 would be all about second place in the championship, and the win for Italy's Antonio Giovinazzi put him safely out of reach of his rivals, teammate Jake Dennis and rookie champion 18-year-old Charles Leclerc, who'd endured a less successful second half of the season.
Well, amazing to win the rookie championship because it's quite important because we are all starting in this series, and it's always good to know you have been the best this season in this category of drivers. And the other wins have been even better because it's with the overall drivers of the series. It has been a really good start of the year, but a disappointing end of the year.
Race 3 saw some great action. With mixed conditions and a drying track, pole sitter Jake Dennis gambled on staying on wet tyres. It was the wrong choice, but luckily for him, third-place championship rival Leclerc languished even further down the field and well out of the points.
Leclerc gets sideways, he tags Gunter, and Stroll has to take evasive action.
No fewer than 4 safety cars featured in the race as drivers struggled on the slippery track.
There's contact. George Russell a long way off through the gravel.
Experienced hand Felix Rosenqvist demonstrated his championship-winning form by taking a fine win, albeit under the safety car.
Felix Rosenqvist then is assured of a 13th win. What a season he has enjoyed.
I was quite keen to win the race as it was the last one of the year, probably the last one for me in this championship. I had a little bit of pressure from Alex Albon in the beginning, but then after 2-3 laps it was all fine, and then from there on was just safety cars really, so to end with a win was really fantastic feeling.
Time now to head on to the grid for the latest race action.
And we begin in Wales at the final round of this year's WRC Rally GP, the scene of many historic triumphs over the years. Challenging weather and high-speed stages make it one of the classics. The rally didn't start well for Jari-Matti Latvala. The Finn's first run through Sweet Lamb quickly turned sour when he lost steering and headed straight into the deepest ditch he could find. With second in the Manufacturers' Championship still up for grabs, Citroen's Chris Meek was under orders to be more cautious, but showed no signs of doing so. Carrying Hyundai's hope, Thierry Neuville won the first 2 stages on day 2, but the Belgian was about to lose it big time. Keeping it under control, local lad Elvin Evans caught the eye with a string of fast times on day 3. But Andreas Mikkelsen was driving for fun and, more than used to a bit of bad weather, finally took third. In a brilliant second, Chris Meek helped Citroën to runner-up in the Manufacturer Championship while making himself hot property for next season. It was world champion Sebastian Ogier who took victory, career win number 32 and his third in Wales. But a respectfully muted celebration for the Frenchman after the events in Paris. And so to Phoenix, Arizona for the penultimate round of the NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Green flag is in the air. We're racing in Phoenix.
After a 6-hour rain delay, the race began with 8 chase contenders hoping for a spot in NASCAR's championship decider. But it was over before it began for number 41 Kurt Busch, as he was penalised for jumping the pole sitter before the start. Busch's teammate Kevin Harvick is the form driver at Phoenix with 5 wins in the last 6 races, and he dominated this time.
It took until the first caution of the night for the 4 of Kevin Harvick to get in front of the field in Phoenix.
But the race turned at 2/3 distance as the leaders pitted under green. Just as non-championship contender Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 made his stop, Joey Gass and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. crashed, bringing out the caution flag. Earnhardt crossed the line on pit road at just the right time to be counted as leader of the race. And then the rain came. The race was stopped and Earnhardt declared the winner. This was bad news for 4 drivers whose championship campaigns were over, including Carl Edwards and Joey Logano, for whom 3rd place was not enough. He was eliminated from the playoffs, along with Penske teammate Brad Keselowski. So these are the final 4. Defending champion Kevin Harvick, 4 times champion Jeff Gordon, the only driver to win in the eliminator round. Kyle Busch also makes it despite missing 3 months of the season through injury. And Martin Truex Jr. takes the underdog role. It's a straight title shootout between these 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway.
We end today's show with a Mexican stock car ace who, with a little help from Kyle Busch, is hoping to lay down a marker north of the border. 23-year-old Daniel Suarez grew up in Monterrey, Mexico. Through karting to success in his home race series, he didn't initially have any ambitions to head north to race in the USA.
Well, in the beginning, my goal was to race in Mexico. I didn't know how to get here in the States. I didn't know that it was possible. So my goal was to be good in Mexico, trying to win a bunch of races, and then we see.
10 wins in Mexico's NASCAR Toyota Series led to his leap of faith, age 19, to the lower rungs of US stock car racing.
It was kind of difficult step because I didn't speak English, I didn't have family here, I didn't have friends. Even when we race NASCAR in Mexico, it's different, you know, the culture is different, the kind of racing is different. If you want to make your racing career here in the States, you have to race here in the States.
Influential backers led to an opportunity with Joe Gibbs Racing, signing him to race in NASCAR's second tier, the Xfinity Series, this season. He now has the support structure he needs to succeed in the US.
I started watching him at some of the local races in the K&N, smaller division in the NASCAR Series. Could see that he had a lot of potential, started talking to him. We were introduced to him by a group of guys from Mexico, Jimmy Morales, Carlos Slim, Gustavo Arenas. And the coach put together a great program with a sponsor, Eras, and it allowed us to put Daniel into a program that really brought him along pretty quickly. We've been phenomenally pleased with his growth. Tremendous young man, great personality. We think he's got a tremendous amount of talent.
You know, for me, as a Mexican driver who lives in the United States, sometimes it's hard to make a lot of decisions by myself. So they've been there to help me out in the racetrack and out of the race, which I think is great. Right now, they are pretty much like my second family, and that's great.
On top of the Xfinity program, Joe Gibbs Racing Sprint Cup star Kyle Busch has given Suarez the chance to race the number 51 Toyota in the Camping World Truck Series for his own team, Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Daniel Suarez has been really impressive this year. You know, he's never been in these types of race cars before, whether it's been the trucks or whether it's been the Xfinity cars. So he's learned a lot. I mean, he's done a really, really good job of being able to take to the racetracks and take to the series, each one, and be able to get the most out of it.
Kyle has been very helpful to me because obviously he has a lot of experience. He's one of the best drivers in the garage. To have him, you know, to give you an advice and tips and stuff in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series, both sides, is great.
I talk to him every week. You know, every week he calls me up, you know, about every Thursday. He's like, hey, all right, tell me about this week. You know, what do I need to know? What do I need to look for? And we talk about a bunch of different things, you know, the aero aspects of the car, the handling of the car, the bumps in the racetracks, you know, all those different things. And he really just does a good job of soaking in that information and being able to utilize that to his advantage when he gets to these racetracks on each weekend.
Though running in 2 divisions means a busy schedule, it accelerates his learning the NASCAR circuits. And the hope is that Suarez will soon be flying the flag for Mexico in the Sprint Cup.
So I feel like on those racetracks I have been racing both series that I've never been before. I think we have been better because we are having more time on the racetrack, more time on the seat, and in the end of the day, that's the goal, you know, to have more experience in less time. And right now we have to just keep working and trying to learn as much as possible. I feel like we have been getting better and better, and hopefully we can keep doing that.
Next time, we look back at the champions we've met in 2015 and follow an F3 racer at his maiden F1 test. Meanwhile, visit channel4.com/Mobil1thegrid to follow Hollywood racer Patrick Dempsey's year in the WEC and for much more exclusive content from the home of motorsport videos on the web. See you next time. Coming up on Mobil One The Grid, we look back at the champions we've met in 2015, follow an F3 racer at his maiden F1 test, and join the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia in China. Catch it all on Mobil One The Grid.